Mm. Oh, good morning. Thank you. I appreciate it. That was a little bit abrupt ending. Sorry about that. My fadeaway didn't work as well as I thought it would today. So, hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you very much. So, I wanted to thank you, all of you, for joining me. I want to welcome you to the Burning River Browns Talk. This is a Wednesday morning, 8:30 a.m. in Northeast Ohio. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, and comment all you want. I get the comments, I get the feedback. I love it. Thank you guys so much. So, there's things that I want to talk about today, but first, I am L Marconi 251 for Lou Marconi on Instagram and L Marconi 1973 on X. Thanks a lot for joining me this morning. So, what we're going to talk about is the extensions for Barry and Stefanski, which is pretty much imminent. It's going to happen. It was going to happen back in November. So I'm going to talk about why that makes sense, go over some rule changes with you, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing back. I think, yeah, a lot of people react to certain things, and maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. You got to have to see it in practice to see how the officials do it because it's very subjective with the hip drop tackle rule and with the kickoffs. It would look like a long running play because there was some places where I saw the examples of it with the XFL. So, but before we go any further, let me stop and pause for our sponsors right now. All right, thanks for joining me back. All right, thanks for staying with me. Okay, let's go right into what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Yeah, I have an article that's going to be dropping today, and this will be attached to it for Fans First Sports Network. The um, the extensions for Barry and Stefanski are the right thing to do. Let's take a look back at what this team has been through, going back 30 years if you want to, back in 19 from 1994 to 2024. Right. They made the playoffs in 94. Belichick was the coach. They lost in the divisional round to the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Go to 1995, and that the first weekend in November, they were tied for first place at a 4-4 record. And what happened was the wheels came off that season because the move to Baltimore was announced. Okay, the Cleveland Browns changed forever at that point. Art Modell moved the team based on a stadium issue. That ties in now to what's happening today with the dome and what I think is going to happen with that. But go through that, we had to fight to keep our team, and we won. And how we won was we had to build a new stadium within 3 years, which was a rushed project, and we had to field the team within 11 months as an expansion team in 1999. We had a rush stadium and a rush team put together, and it was not right from the start. It took 2 decades to kind of right things because yeah, we had maybe two winning seasons from 1999 to 2019. Two winning seasons. One of them was a playoff season. That's abysmal. That's horrible. We had 11 different head coaches and 10 different general managers. The only thing that was consistent was losing games. That's what we needed. We needed stability, but we also needed competence. Jimmy Haslam, or the Haslam family, I should say, took over ownership of the Cleveland Browns in 2012. And of course, they brought in their own people to run the team from the start. I say in my article where I've talked to business leaders and people that have run successful businesses, seen seminars, been to things, they say, yes, the key to building a successful business is knowing how to hire people. But one thing that nobody ever talks about is knowing how to fire people too. Own up to a mistake. Say, okay, this wasn't right. I put in. I hired this person. It's not working out. Cut losses. Move on. He did that. He hired and fired quite a bit. You can go all the way back to the coaches from Rob Chizinski, Mike Patton, Hugh Jackson, all of them. It's just it did work out well. The Ray Farmer. I mean, I could go through all these names, just a list of them. It's pointless to do that because it's all in the past now, going back 10, 12 years. But after John Dorsey left and Freddie Kitchens was fired, the thing that I remember Haslam saying that he wanted he wanted them working together. He wanted them to be on the same page. It was the front office and the general manager. He wanted the coach, the head coach, and the general manager to be incongruent, to be working together. And Barry and Stefanski worked. Actually, if you remember, Stefanski in February 2020 was hired right before Andrew Barry, or in January 2020, I should say, right before Andrew Barry. It was after Minnesota lost their playoff game to San Francisco. Then they hired the offensive coordinator for the Vikings as their head coach was Kevin Stefanski. And I believe Andrew Barry was working with the Eagles, but he was with the Browns before. They brought them in. They understood they had talent on the team. There were players that were good. It started with the 2017 draft, with the drafting of Myles Garrett and David Njoku in the first round. Just as an example with that. So they knew what they needed to do. They knew they didn't have to clean house. They didn't have to start from scratch. They had a pool of talent, and they built on that. That first season, we made the playoffs. It was the COVID year. Yes, they won 11 games, and they won a playoff game on the road. The first time the Browns won a playoff game on the road since 1969. And we had 2 years when they didn't play. They didn't make the playoffs. They didn't play as well, but they really didn't. There's reasons for it. The Baker Mayfield debacle in 2021, the Deshaun Watson suspension in 2022. And the defense wasn't as good in 2022. They worked to improve it. They attacked it. And in 2023, we had a very good team. If it wasn't for the injuries, who knows how far this team could have went. So it makes sense. We have that stability. Extend the coaches, extend the coach, extend the GM. And it's going to be over. It just makes complete sense to do it. We have the stability that we wanted for. We're not going to hear any more stories about Bill Cowher trying to buy a house in Strongsville, which is complete garbage. Now, the hip drop tackle rule was adopted by the league, and the new kickoff rule. I'm going to do more on the Friday night edition of this show. We're going to get more in depth into that, and with the Dome Stadium, that's probably going to happen as well. What I would say to that is just give it a year. Let's give this a season and see how it works out. Now, the hip drop tackle rule is pretty much when the tackler wraps the runner, he drops his weight and uses his legs and his hip to undercut the legs of the runner. It's for the safety of the players. That makes sense to do it. I think there's going to be an adjustment period for both the officials and the players. So there's going to be some calls that are going to be ticky-tacky, like really. But I also like that the personal foul penalties, from what I understand, I could be wrong, personal foul penalties, roughing the passer, will be reviewed. So that's good. There's going to be some of the subjectivity could be taken by having them the personal fouls reviewed, because some of them are just like, really. yeah I've heard it. I've seen it go both ways, and I think people will like the rule if it helps their team win at any point. But that one, and then the kickoff, it's going to resemble the XFL, where they want what they're trying to do is have more returns versus touchbacks, and that's what the league's experimenting with. So it's only for 1 year, so let's give it a shot and see what happens. Okay, so thank you guys for joining me today. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you very much. That's about to wrap it up for me. I want to thank you for joining me, and I want to let you know I'll be back again tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. If I don't come on at 8:30, it could be a different time due to other things going on, but I'll let you know. And hey, please like, comment, share, subscribe. We appreciate each and every one of you. And always remember, when the river burns, it burns brown and orange. realized the mistake I